Asia. It's a pleasure to be here and an honor. We've got interviews this morning with the CEOs of two of Asia's most creative and fastest growing airports. So without waiting any further, I'd like to please introduce Mr. Ayman Aboabah to the stage. He is the Chief Executive of King Abdulaziz International Airport in Jeddah.
Hi. Thank you.
Thank you. So, welcome. I know that your airport is exciting, it's growing, and it's unusual. So I know you wanted to share some information with the audience to help everybody understand what makes the airport so special. So, please.
First of all, thank you for the time and thank you for the opportunity to give a light about King Abdulaziz International Airport. We in JEDCO, Jeddah Airports Company, the operator of King Abdulaziz International Airport, really glad to be here today to share what do we have about one of the fast growing airports in the region. So I may go over some few slides to give just brief about an executive briefing about King Abdulaziz International Airport.
Please.
Okay. Okay. So as you know that in King Abdulaziz International Airport, we're aiming to be the best in class. In the same time, we know that we are the gateway of the Holy Mosque in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And we are aiming to have a seamless passenger journey, in the same time to focus on innovation, financial and environmental sustainability. King Abdulaziz International Airport started at 1945, but this is not Jeddah Airport, because Jeddah does have an aviation operation prior to that, maybe by 10 to 15 years before that date. But when we talk about King Abdulaziz International Airport, we're talking about an airport since 1945. And as you know that in Saudi Arabia, we are lucky with the Vision 2030, and that Vision 2030 does have several streams that focus in different areas. Part of it is the life equality and depending in non-oil GDP. Part of in depending non-oil GDP, we're consider ourselves part of the economy of non-oil GDP. So as I said, the Vision 2030 is targeting to increase the non-oil GDP, and transportation and logistics is one of the business stream in non-oil GDP. So we have the Vision 2030 and the national strategy of transportation and logistics. And the national strategy today is targeting to raise up the number of passengers in Saudi Arabia from 90 million up to 33 million. 330 million passengers among all over Saudi Arabia. Jeddah is targeting to serve 114 million. Meanwhile, the most number that we reached at 2019 was 38 million passengers. In the transit, Saudi Arabia was running like 5 to 6 million passengers in transit among all over the airport in Saudi Arabia. Nowadays, in King Abdulaziz International Airport, we're targeting 15 million passengers before 2030. For the destination, Saudi Arabia does have only 99 destinations. Meanwhile, in Vision 2030 and the national strategy for transportation and logistics, we're targeting 250. KAIA will take like 150 destinations among the 250. In the cargo, we were like, in general, in Saudi Arabia, does not exceed 1.5 million metric ton. So in Saudi Arabia, we're now in Vision 2030 and the national strategy of transportation and logistic. We're targeting 4.5 million metric ton among all over Saudi Arabia between Riyadh and Jeddah. So Jeddah will target 2.5 million metric ton. When we talk about the non-aero revenue generation, today the non-aeronautical revenue is between 25 to 30% in different airports. So the national strategy is target to raise up that up to 45% of the overall revenue generation. In KAIA, we're inshallah gonna meet the 45% in general. If you look at the growth, we said at 2019 we were operating around 38 million passenger. And post-COVID, last year, 2022, we reached 31 up to 32, let's say 32 million passenger. For this year, we're targeting 47 million passenger. And we believe that we may exceed that number by 3 or 4 million. So we may touch the 50 million passenger. By 2030, we're aiming, inshallah, to achieve the 114 million passenger. If we're gonna just, ask how can we have that ambitious vision? How can we have that ambitious goals? That's an easy when you understand that, for example, for Hajj and Umrah, which is the religious visitor, or we call them the pilgrims, that they visit the Holy Mosque in Saudi Arabia and to perform Hajj or Umrah, which is a mandatory for any Muslim to do it once in his life. So for Hajj and Umrah, if we just look at the figures, before 2019, we were just having between 4 to 5 million, maximum by 6 million on a yearly basis. Nowadays, and I could say it proudly, that we are hosting 1 million passengers on a monthly basis only for Umrah.
Wow.
And if you just look at what we achieved for this year, since last Hajj time, we reach more than 9 million passengers only for Umrah. And see that growth, we're aiming now to have 3 million passengers on a monthly basis only for Umrah. So if you add that to Hajj, we will reach between 36 up to 40 million passengers only for Hajj and Umrah. This is one of the growth stream. The other one, if you compare the accessibility to Saudi Arabia from 2015 and back, and you compare it today, you see that all that restriction, all that prerequisite have been facilitated to have an easy access to Saudi Arabia. So you may have just a transit visa and you have 3 days, you enjoy having Umrah or going for sightseeing and to see the tourist area. And the government today is investing heavily to increase the tourist area that does have a long heritage historically and have an amazing, distinguished uniqueness in Saudi Arabia culture and nature in general. So if you count the area of attraction in Saudi Arabia, just today, we're talking about the Red Sea, we're talking about Amala, we're talking about Al-Ula, we're talking about the Formula, we're talking about Jeddah season. That's only for Jeddah region. But Riyadh does have almost the same, and the other region does have almost the same. So we're talking about an ambitious goal with very, let's say, ambitious plan, in the same time with a serious programs that attract movement to Saudi Arabia.
Well, I thank you for sharing this information with us because, again, it's your airport is unique. When we spoke, and you shared this with me, I was astounded. Your airport is expected to grow 2.5 times at least within the next 7 years. You also have the unique challenge that about 40% of your travelers are religious travelers, and as you explained it to me, they include a lot of first-time flyers, a lot of people who are from small towns, a lot of people who are not engaged with technology on the same level as those of us in this room might be, or the everyday traveler might be. So that creates a lot of challenges for you. As you strive to provide and create the best possible traveler experience, how are you and your colleagues balancing everything? Where do you put the focus? On the religious traveler or on the everyday traveler? Because they're so different.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Let me summarize that in 4 types of operation, 4 modes of operation. In KAIA, we are operating the domestic passengers and the international passenger, which is point to point, which is the normal, any airport does have the same. And we're targeting to increase the transit, which is a new business in KAIA, under development today. It does have a great project on the ground today. And the last, not least, is Hajj and Umrah. So Hajj and Umrah, as you said, we have a passenger profile that they travel for the first time, and they came from different culture, with different languages. We're dealing with around 200 languages, not only the common 8 or 7 standard languages. No, we're dealing with hundreds of languages, because they came from all the world. And at the same time, they have, people differences in their, education, in their mindset, in their understanding, but they have common goal. They want to come and do their visit, do Holy Mosque visit, do their worship peacefully, and they want to back peacefully in a very seamless passenger experience. So they have common goal, and we are building and designing the process of operation on that mindset. So in any airport, you can go for the state-of-the-art technology, and you ask people to be up to that level. So whenever you visit any airport, the passenger modify himself toward that airport experience in order to pass through safely and smoothly. And if the passenger did not educate himself well, he may get stuck sometime in any airport in the world. But for Hajj and Umrah, we welcome those guests because they are the guests of the Holy Mosque, they are the guests of Saudi Arabia, and we treat them specially with the way that we design the passenger journey toward their best experience ever. So the luggage handling, the terminal itself, the process area, the staging area, the group management and the group aviation, or let's say group movement process, it's totally different than any normal airport operation.
And we were talking also about your desire to be innovative, to take advantage of the new technologies that are practical, to look at intermodal travel, to look at off-airport passenger processing. Are those what you consider to be core strategic initiatives for the airport's future plan?
As I said, KAIA is an airport like any airport and does have a uniqueness and distinguished business stream related to Hajj and Umrah. So in 60% of my operation, I'm doing what others doing, and I start from where others ends. So as you said, we're focusing in full digitized journey, touchless, seamless, smooth movement in the airport in general. So as you said, yes, we're focusing in the state-of-the-art and latest technology in the most of the airport process, maintaining what I said related to Hajj and Umrah passenger in general. So yes, in our now project and in our plans today, we're targeting the best in class of a technology, but it shouldn't be the state-of-the-art technology or the state-of-the-art of an engineering, or an architect. We're targeting the best fit technology and methodology toward smooth passenger experience and best passenger experience.
And while we have a moment left, I'd like to just discuss the unique relationship you have with Saudi Arabian Airlines, because you shared that with me. And it appears that you all, well, let's just put it this way. Airports and airlines don't always have the best of relationships, and it seems like you all, you and Saudi Arabian Airlines at least have a good relationship. But that requires a lot of collaboration, cooperation, and even compromise. Share a little bit about that.
The national strategy of aviation, of transportation and logistics made a clear goals that Riyadh and Jeddah must be hubs. So Jeddah is hub for Saudi Airline. So we are their destiny, they are our destiny. So we have a great relation, very integrated relation, comes from the top level up to the execution level. I could assure you that as we are speaking, there are an operational meeting on a daily basis with Saudi Airline, with the ground handler, with other stakeholders from the operational team, which is, we call it the daily briefing. And there are a weekly meeting that goes in the higher level up to the executive level. And we have a bi-weekly meeting that I have it with the CEO of Saudi and the chairman of Saudi and the senior of Saudi Airline. And we have a monthly meeting with the high officials that we are just touching the water to assure that it's warm enough to keep the relation good and to assure that we have the right alignment on our movement. And I want to confirm, last not least, that the master plan of KAIA, King Abdulaziz International Airport, was built in a very strong alignment with Saudi Airline future plan and strategic plan for the upcoming 5 years.
Great. Ayman, thank you. I wish we had more time, but you'll be back on stage in a couple of minutes right now. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please join me in thanking Ayman for his perspectives.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
See you.